So the inspiration for this impact video, number 12, came from something that happened several weeks ago. I was standing around a large group of people, and somebody started talking about Hispanics. And then everybody started throwing in their 2 cents and their comments. And, there's things like, yeah, the harder you slap a Mexican, the more English that comes out of them. And calling them wetbacks, talking about how lazy they are, and they're taking advantage of the system, and they don't pay taxes, and on and on and on, the usual type of stuff. And later on, one of the guys came up to me the next day and said, "Boy, I really didn't think about what I was saying. I know that your wife's a Spanish teacher, but I didn't know that maybe she might be Hispanic." And I should have, played it off. It's like, well, yeah, she is. It made me feel pretty bad, but she isn't. So I said, well, no, she isn't. kind of let him off the hook when I think about it. I should have kind of stood up more at the time then too. But it really shouldn't matter if the people we're talking about from here. So now we shouldn't talk about people like that. And it kind of reminds me of Ocean's 11 when Tess is talking to Benedict. After catching him, she's like, you of all people, Benedict, should know in your hotel somebody's always watching. And with us, somebody is always watching. They hear all those comments, or he hears all those comments we make. And it's just, we shouldn't be controlling what we say just because we, think somebody won't overhear it. We should always talk as though, they will get back to people, because more than likely they probably will anyway. So it just reminds me of what Dennis Miller always used to say on his show. He'd be like, I don't want to get off on a big rant here. But that's kind of what, in hindsight, I wanted to do. I wanted to go off on a big rant on all those guys. Talking, well, at least, they speak 2 languages. How many languages do you speak? Things like that. We're talking about not paying taxes. There's a whole lot of white people that aren't paying taxes. There's a whole lot of white people taking advantage of the situation, taking advantage of the government. Mitt Romney wants to have all the Hispanics that are illegal self-deport, and I think if we had a lot of the lazy white people that could work but no self-deport, we might be in a whole lot better shape just for that. But, it's just the same old thing. I used to work construction, so I've worked with them, and I know that when I got there in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever, they were already there working and had been working since the sun came up. When I went to leave for the night, they were still out there working, and they were making a whole lot less money than, the guys I'm around now are making, and they're working a whole lot harder. And, the people I'm with on a day-to-day basis, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them just complain constantly about everything. And it's like, you just want to say, do you know how good you have it? But yeah, you're going to talk about these people that are just trying to make a living. They're trying to make a better life for themselves and their family. And if you were in the same situation, you did the exact same thing. If for some reason something happened and the government accidentally quit, charging you taxes, would you run to them and say, oh, please, you forgot to tax me? No, I doubt it. You'd be doing the same thing. And that's what they're doing. They're just trying to, like I said, a lot of them might take advantage of the situation, but there's a whole lot of others that are just trying to make better lives for themselves. But like I said, I don't get off on a rant there, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But the point of it is that I kept quiet. And yeah, the next day I came into work. I was blaring one of my wife's CDs that she made me. Had no idea what they were saying, but it was just kind of a little poke back at them. And for the next couple of days I did that. I know it's kind of silly, but it's just my little way of kind of getting back at them a little bit, blaring that Spanish music. It was kind of funny. But really, what I wanted to do now, looking back on it, is I should have spoke up. I should have said what was in my heart and how I felt about things, because I just felt like it was the right thing to do. But did I? No. I kept quiet. I didn't want to cause a scene. I didn't want people to not like me. I have to work with these people a lot, so I chose that over doing the right thing. In my opinion, the right thing by speaking up. And Jesus, when he was put in that situation, he didn't care. When the Pharisees were saying things that were wrong and trying to catch him in situations and things like that. He stood up for what was right. He said, no, this is what's right. And when they had the marketplace in God's temple, he came in there, started throwing tables and money and driving all the animals out, and he created one heck of a big scene. And there's a whole lot of people that probably didn't like him after that, but he did what he knew what was right, what God would want him to do. And so I'm just kind of taking my cue from that from now on. When they start talking bad about Hispanics or whatever, I'm going to say what I think, what I believe. If they don't like me anymore, or if they think, oh, here comes Dusty, you got to be quiet. Who cares, really? I don't care. I want to know that I'm in right standing with God, and that's what matters. And they talk on a semi-daily basis. The N-word gets thrown around a lot, and I have black relatives, and I've always kept quiet about it, never said a thing, and that's going to change. And if people don't like me, that's fine. And if it's awkward, that's fine. But if you say that stuff around me, I'm not going to be quiet anymore. I might even overthrow some break room tables or something like that. But that's, like I said, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.